Probably was just the music that I was listening to then. Building a techno party outdoors in 2001 would have been very difficult because most of the outdoor scene was connected to the trance scene and trance music. So I wasn't so into the trance music then, but I was into the people and the crowd and the atmosphere. So we started there and then slowly took our crowd and then shifted a little bit each year towards different kinds of music. So we never did one massive shift. It was always introducing a little bit. But I guess 2005 or 6 might have been the most obvious shift because you had maybe Matthew Johnson, Dave Millisol, like the London tech house sound, and from that point forward, then it became much more obviously a techno house party. I mean, we had a lot of the same crowd stayed with us. They're getting older and their tastes are changing too. So it was never, we never had a big shift in the crowd. I don't think we ever had a total shift in atmosphere either, because we had, for example, DJs who came from, say, like the psychedelic trance scene, like James Monroe from Flying Rhino Records, but he wouldn't play any trance at the party. He would always play like house and techno. So maybe on the flyer it looked like a big shift, but musically it probably wasn't that big of a shift. I mean, each year it was a bit of an evolution because the DJs themselves were changing. And yeah, so I think every year it's evolved slightly.
基本的にそうですね、ジャンルが変わっていく中で新しいお客さんが増えていくっていうのはなんかコアになる、お客さんの層がガラッと変わることになって多分基本的には同じようなお客さんがいてその中でやっぱり音楽自身も進化してるしお客さんもそれについてるしあとは同じ DJ 呼んでてもその DJ 自身も進化してるっていうので
So, the crowd and the staff kind of matured and changed together. So it was a very organic shift. It wasn't trying to force something on people. The event grew as it grew. And now it's at a point where I feel it's quite representative of like all underground psychedelic electronic music, from house to dub to techno to dubstep to what have you. I think it pretty much we try to cover most of the genres. Yeah, I don't want to say perfect. That will jinx you for sure. Definitely, from my perspective, the timetable that only I know right now, but is so knows a little bit. I think it's definitely the best that we've ever created. I think it captures the broadest range of music, and it captures, for me, a lot of history and a lot of future of the music as well. So just to give a few examples of that, Reagan's, Move D, and Jonah Sharp made some of the most amazing ambient, whatever you want to call it, music in the mid-90s and late 90s. A lot of stuff on Fax, Pete Hamlet's label, Source Records, and Jonah Sharp, Space-Time Continuum. So for me, some of that music's really special. Nobody makes that kind of music anymore. I was looking at a playlist, like a mid-90s party, and they had a main room playlist and a second room playlist. In the main room, you couldn't listen to any of that music anymore. But the second room music is all you can listen to it today. The whole second room concept has disappeared essentially from parties. The chill out room, mid-90s techno parties or trance parties. The chill out room was something which was a part of every event. You had like the dance room and then the relaxed kind of trippy chill out room. I saw people like Mixmaster Morris playing in a spaceman suit and all kinds of trippy experiences I had in the chill out room. And that's gone, and that music is almost gone too, like nobody makes it. They're some of the only people for me who still can tap into that vibe. So for me, having them there, it reaches back to that history. Another guy who reaches way back into the history of electronic music is a guy called Gerald. One of the most important people in acid house, jungle, basically created the jungle drum and bass genres almost. And he really reaches back to like right at the beginning. What's cool about him is that his music he's making today, for me, is as good as anything he made 10, 20 years ago. It's just still that same acid house vibe, but just perfected and refined with current sound production. So that, for me, that's pretty special to have him. Someone like Convection, who is something of a mystery to lots of people. To me, there's nobody who's continued the sound of like early Detroit electro techno like Convection. Derek May, Juan Atkins, that kind of sound, and nobody makes it anymore. And a lot of those guys are still around. They still DJ, they're still big names, but I think nobody really can make music at the level of, say, Drexciya was making in the beginning. For me, Convection's the only one. He's the current representative of the Drexciya Juan Atkins sound. And seeing him outdoors, I know a lot of people who are really into the music know that's a very special opportunity. Some people are traveling from England just to see him play outdoors, a group of 10. Then you have some really kind of forward-thinking music that doesn't belong to any genre. Something like Shackleton. I mean, people align him with the dubstep scene, but he's not really dubstep. He's just like mushroom, get lost in the forest music. Totally original, completely unique. Nobody makes music like that. So him, I'm really excited about. And then of course, our people who played for us in the past, like Donato Dozzi, Function, Peter Van Hoosen, everyone I'm excited about. Yeah. Donato is playing his 40th birthday is on the final day of Labyrinth.
Isn't it?
So Donato's actually going to play 3 sets. The first night, he's going to open the party with a krautrock DJ set. Because most of the music, all this music you could trace back to that period. So by opening with Tangerine Dream and Kraftwerk and going all the way through to like Spaceman 3, it's really going to set up the context, the background to the event. Like, all this music came from there. So I think a lot of people are going to be excited to hear that kind of music on a Function 1 system outdoors. You're going to listen to early Tangerine Dream. So I'm really excited about that. And then he's going to play an ambient set in the morning of the final day to open. I'm sure he'll play some of his own music. He just released a new album, his first album called K, which is some of the best downbeat electronic music that I've ever heard. And then he's going to finish with his Bending Time techno set, which nobody can do like him. For me, Dozzi right now has reached a point that few DJs have hit. Maybe Jeff Mills at his peak, Richie Houghton at his peak, not anymore. Only a handful of people I think are at that level. Dozzi doesn't have the hype around him that those guys did. He doesn't have a marketing machine. He's just a quiet, serious guy who just makes his music, but nobody can play like he can right now. So that's why he's going to finish. You go first.
コンセプトの部分で散々説明したように、やっぱり全部で一つの流れなので、ちょっと来て遊ぼうっていうよりかは、やっぱり最初から最後まで過ごしてほしいな、全体の流れを感じ取ってほしいなと思います。
Well, I see Labyrinth has a pretty strong hammer. I don't want to break you, but I do want to dent you a little bit.